The discovery. Dr. Elena Reyes rubbed her tired eyes as she stared at the data scrolling across the multiple screens of her workstation. The midnight shift at the Deep Space Monitoring Station in Chile's Atacama Desert was usually uneventful, but tonight was different. For the past 3 hours, she had been tracking an anomalous energy pattern at the edge of the solar system. "Computer, run spectral analysis again with modified parameters," Elena commanded, her voice cutting through the hushed atmosphere of the control room. The quantum processors hummed in response, their cooling systems bathing the room in a soft blue glow. The results made her sit up straight. The energy signature didn't match anything in their database. Not a natural phenomenon, not human-made. More concerning was its structured pattern, too regular to be random, too complex to be anything but artificial. Her hands trembled slightly as she initiated the decryption protocol she had been developing. It was experimental, designed to translate potential alien communication based on mathematical constants. Most of her colleagues thought it was a waste of time. Tonight might prove them wrong. After 20 minutes, fragments of decrypted data appeared on her screen. The words chilled her to the bone. Primitive species identified. Earth classified as Category 3 resource planet. Observation protocols in effect. Harvesting schedule updated. Elena's thoughts immediately went to Thomas, her brother who had disappeared 6 months ago during a routine asteroid mining operation in the belt. The official report claimed equipment failure, but she never believed it. Thomas was too meticulous, too experienced for such a basic mistake. She reached for her secure tablet, hesitating before contacting her superiors. The message mentioned monitoring for information leaks. If there were alien observation posts watching Earth, who knew how deep their surveillance went? Instead, she composed a carefully worded message to Dr. Weizong, her former mentor, and the only person she trusted completely. The subject line read, "Unusual stellar phenomenon. Your thoughts needed." She attached a heavily encrypted package using a personal algorithm they had developed years ago. While waiting for the encryption to complete, she pulled up the last footage from Thomas's mining vessel. She had reviewed it countless times, but now she saw it with new eyes. There, in the corner of the frame, a distortion of light around empty space, something she had dismissed as a camera artifact. Dr. Zhang's response came within minutes. "Secure your data. Tell no one. Coming to Chile. 12 hours." Elena began transferring the discovery to her private servers, but before she could finish, the facility's proximity alarms blared. Security feeds showed nothing in the surrounding desert, yet the sensors detected a massive heat signature approaching. The lights flickered as Elena felt a strange pressure in her ears. One by one, the security cameras went dark. She grabbed her tablet and ran for the emergency exit, taking the stairs 3 at a time. Behind her, she heard the distinct hiss of the main airlock cycling open. The desert night hit her like a wall of cold air. Her car was only 50 meters away. As she ran, she glanced up and froze momentarily. Where stars should have been, she saw geometric patterns of emptiness, as if pieces of the sky had been carefully cut away. Elena reached her car, her hands shaking as she started the engine. Whatever had entered the facility wasn't human, and it had come immediately after her discovery. She accelerated away from the station, clutching her tablet that contained humanity's first evidence that we were being watched and possibly hunted. 3 weeks later, Elena found herself 70 meters beneath the Arctic ice, in a repurposed Cold War bunker that now housed the hastily assembled Raven program. After her escape and Dr. Zhang's intervention, various governments had quietly acknowledged the threat and pooled resources for a response team. "The problem isn't just detecting them," Dr. Zhang explained to the assembled scientists and military personnel. "It's that their technology renders conventional detection methods useless." "Then we need unconventional methods," Elena replied, bringing up holographic projections of the energy patterns she had detected in Chile. Dr. Sanjay Kapoor, a disgraced physicist whose theories had been too radical for mainstream science, studied the projections with intense focus. These aren't just cloaking devices. They're bending reality around their vessels. Is that even possible? General Carter, the military liaison, asked skeptically. Not according to our current understanding of physics, Kapoor replied with a slight smile. But clearly, someone forgot to tell him that. The team's youngest member, Mira Cheng, looked up from her neural interface tablet. At 22, she had already revolutionized quantum computing algorithms before being recruited. The aliens aren't using standard detection methods anyway, Mira said, fingers dancing across her interface. That signal from Chile referenced something called quantum wake detection. They're tracking disturbances in the quantum field itself. The facility's lights dimmed briefly as their experiments drained the geothermal power supply. Alina pulled her thermal jacket tighter, remembering the void she had seen in the Chilean sky. Traditional stealth technology is worse than useless against this, Kapoor continued. We're not just trying to become invisible. We need to convince space itself to ignore us. That's impossible, General Carter started to say. After what I saw in Chile, impossible has lost its meaning. Alina interrupted. We need to approach this differently. Instead of fighting their technology, we need to understand and adapt it. Their first breakthrough came a week later when they discovered an unusual candidate for their prototype system. Lieutenant Maya Patel had been medically discharged from submarine service after reporting hallucinations of electromagnetic fields. The military had dismissed her claims until tests revealed she possessed an extraordinary form of synesthesia. Her brain could perceive electromagnetic radiation as visible patterns. When shown the alien energy signatures, Maya had doubled over in pain before describing complex geometries no one else could see. They're folding space, she explained, sketching rapidly on a tablet, creating pocket dimensions where their ships exist in multiple states simultaneously. That's why traditional sensors can't detect them, Kapoor said excitedly. They're partially phased out of our reality. The team's first experimental prototype failed catastrophically, overloading the facility's power systems and causing a localized quantum distortion that temporarily altered the flow of time within the test chamber. But with each failure came new understanding. Dr. Naoki Tanaka, their materials specialist, suggested an approach inspired by biomimicry, studying natural structures that manipulated energy efficiently. Nature already solved many of these problems through evolution, he explained. We just need to translate these solutions to quantum physics. As they worked, Alina continued searching for any trace of her brother. Analysis of the recovered fragments from his ship revealed microscopic stressed fractures consistent with tractor beam technology. Thomas hadn't suffered an accident. He had been taken. 6 months into the program, they achieved their first success. A small drone equipped with their prototype quantum displacement field temporarily disappeared from all sensors before reappearing 2 kilometers away. The technology was crude compared to what the aliens possessed, but it proved their concept was viable. That night, Alina received an unexpected message on her private channel. The sender was unknown, but the content made her blood freeze. They're not just watching anymore. First contact team arrives in 30 days. Observation posts already established in high orbit. Trust no one with level 5 clearance. Alina stared at the message for a long time. Someone with intimate knowledge of both the alien presence and their own security protocols was reaching out. But who? And why now? As she contemplated her next move, facility sensors detected a massive gravitational anomaly passing through the outer solar system. Something huge, moving fast, and completely invisible to conventional detection methods. The Raven program had just run out of time. The innovation. The explosion rocked the underground facility, sending cascades of ice fragments from the ceiling. Alarms blared as emergency systems engaged, sealing off Laboratory 6 from the rest of the complex. Through the observation window, Alina watched as 3 months of work melted into superheated steam. Security sweep complete, announced the facility AI. No unauthorized personnel detected. However, internal logs show access to lab control systems from a level 5 terminal at 3:42 hours. Level 5. Dr. Zhang looked up from examining the damage readouts. That's senior staff only. Lieutenant Maya Patel stepped closer to the ruined laboratory, her unique perception allowing her to see residual energy patterns invisible to others. This wasn't just sabotage, she said quietly. Someone knew exactly where to strike. They understood our technology. This was the fourth accident in 2 weeks. The saboteur was systematically targeting their breakthroughs, staying one step ahead of security measures. We're not just racing the aliens anymore, Alina muttered. Her tablet displayed intercepted communications from Chinese and Russian scientific teams, claiming advances in quantum stealth technology suspiciously similar to their own research. Dr. Kapoor spread his latest equations across the holographic display. The quantum displacement field is stable in theory, but we can't generate enough power to maintain it without detection. Every test creates energy spikes that would be visible across the solar system. Mira looked up from her workstation. What if we're approaching this wrong? We're trying to hide our energy signature by suppressing it. But that itself requires enormous energy. Like trying to be quiet by yelling, "I'm being quiet," Maya observed with a wry smile. Dr. Tanaka, who had been studying ancient Japanese temple architecture for inspiration, suddenly straightened. In traditional design, we don't fight natural forces, we redirect them. He pulled up comparative diagrams. What if instead of suppressing our energy signature, we disguised it as something natural? The team worked through the night, redesigning their approach. Instead of creating a perfect stealth field, they would develop a system that mimicked natural cosmic phenomena. Solar flares, radiation bursts, gravitational lensing effects, hiding in plain sight by becoming indistinguishable from background space events. Their prototype vessel, codenamed Nightshade, took shape in the massive construction bay beneath the ice. Its hull incorporated metamaterials that could change their quantum properties in response to external stimuli, like a chameleon adapting to its surroundings. Lieutenant Patel became integral to the design process. Her ability to perceive energy fields allowed her to identify flaws in the stealth system that instruments couldn't detect. More importantly, she discovered something unexpected. The alien stealth technology had weaknesses, gaps in the folded space where their ships became momentarily detectable. Their technology isn't perfect, she explained during a briefing. There are patterns, rhythms to how they bend reality. If we can predict those patterns, we can see through their invisibility. Alina finished the thought. As the project advanced, security concerns intensified. General Carter implemented compartmentalized information protocols, restricting full knowledge of the program to just 5 key personnel. Even Alina found her access limited to certain aspects of the project. "I don't like it," she confided to Maya during a rare moment alone. "We're fighting an enemy that could be anywhere, while simultaneously suspecting each other." Maya's gaze drifted across the room, her perception revealing the complex electromagnetic fields generated by the facility's systems. "There's something else bothering you," she observed. Alina hesitated before showing Maya the mysterious message she'd received. Someone on the inside knows more than they're saying. The question is whether they're trying to help or manipulate us. Maya studied the message carefully. Level 5 clearance narrows it down to about 12 people, including General Carter and Dr. Zhang. "I trust Zhang with my life," Alina said firmly. "Trust is a luxury we may not be able to afford," Maya replied softly. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. During a routine test of Nightshade's energy distribution systems, a power surge caused the quantum field to fluctuate in a way they hadn't predicted. Instead of failing, the field adapted, creating a cascade effect that actually strengthened the stealth capabilities while reducing power consumption. Mira, who had been monitoring the test, stared at the readings in disbelief. "It's self-organizing," she whispered. "The quantum field is finding its own equilibrium state." Dr. Kapoor's hands flew across the equations displayed before him. "It's like we created the conditions, but the physics is solving itself." He looked up, eyes wide with revelation. "We've been trying to force nature to follow our rules. when we should have been creating an environment where nature solves the problem for us. This discovery accelerated their timeline dramatically. Nightshade systems were redesigned to facilitate rather than generate the quantum displacement effect, reducing power requirements by 78% and eliminating the telltale energy spike that would have revealed their position. Yet, as they prepared for Nightshade's first full-scale test, Alina received another anonymous message. Test delayed. Alien observation post has moved to Arctic orbit. Will pass directly overhead in 6 hours. Internal security compromised at highest levels. Alina immediately ordered a security lockdown, but General Carter overruled her. We can't delay based on an anonymous tip. The test proceeds as scheduled. 4 hours later, orbital monitors detected an unusual aurora pattern forming above the facility, a symmetrical geometric display unlike anything naturally occurring. That's not a normal aurora, Maya said, her voice tight with concern. Through her enhanced perception, she could see complex energy patterns forming above them, probing downward like fingers reaching through the ice. Alina made a decision that would change everything. Using her emergency authorization codes, she initiated an unscheduled launch sequence for Nightshade. What are you doing? Dr. Zhang demanded, rushing into the control room. They're scanning us right now, Alina replied, eyes fixed on the deployment countdown. We either launch Nightshade now, under cover of the aurora interference, or we lose our only chance to test it under real conditions. General Carter stormed in, security personnel at his heels. Abort the launch immediately, Dr. Rice. That's an order. But Maya had already entered the pilot's chamber, interfacing with Nightshade systems. Through the neural link, she could feel the ship's quantum field forming around her, responding to her unique perception. Too late, Alina said as the launch tunnel opened above them. Nightshade is already gone. On the tracking systems, there was nothing to see. Exactly as intended. Nightshade had vanished, its quantum displacement field functioning perfectly. Only Maya's specialized neural link provided any confirmation that the ship still existed. Through that link, the team watched in stunned silence as Maya navigated Nightshade directly past the alien observation post, a massive structure disguised as a small asteroid in polar orbit. The alien vessel never detected their prototype, even as Maya gathered crucial intelligence about its capabilities. When Nightshade returned 3 hours later, the data it brought changed everything they thought they knew about the alien presence. The observation post wasn't just watching Earth. It was coordinating dozens of smaller vessels throughout the solar system, mapping resources and cataloging human activity. More disturbing was the discovery that the aliens weren't just preparing for first contact. They were preparing for a resource acquisition operation. Earth had been designated as a high-yield harvesting zone. As General Carter reviewed the findings, his demeanor changed. How soon can we construct a fleet of stealth vessels? That's not the right question, Alina replied. The right question is, how do we track down the traitor who has been feeding our secrets to both human competitors and alien observers? The facility's lights dimmed momentarily as distant sensors detected another massive gravitational anomaly entering the outer solar system. Something big was coming, something that made the observation post look tiny by comparison. Maya, still recovering from the neural interface strain, looked up with haunted eyes. They're not just coming to say hello, she whispered. They're coming to start the harvest. The confrontation. The Nightshade hung in Earth orbit, invisible to both conventional sensors and alien detection systems. Inside its command center, Alina studied the holographic display showing the approaching alien vessel. Designated Harvester 1 by the team, the massive ship had decelerated at the edge of the solar system and was now moving methodically toward Earth. Time to intercept, she asked, her voice steady despite the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. 72 hours at current velocity, Lieutenant Maya Patel responded, her eyes moving across information only she could see through her neural interface with the ship. The connection had deepened since their first test flight, allowing Maya to perceive quantum fluctuations across vast distances. Dr. Zhang entered the command center, his face grave. The Security Council is split. Half want to attempt communication. The others are pushing for immediate military response. Both would be suicide. Alina replied. We can't fight them conventionally, and they already understand our communications better than we understand theirs. The past month had been a crucible of rapid development. After Nightshade's successful test flight revealed the extent of alien infiltration, resources had poured into the Raven program. 3 more stealth vessels were under construction, but only Nightshade was operational. More troubling was the continued security breach. Despite implementing extreme countermeasures, sensitive information still leaked. The saboteur remained at large, their identity concealed even as the circle of suspects narrowed. Any word on the transmission I asked you to trace? Alina asked Mira, who had been working to track the mysterious messages Alina had received. It's encrypted beyond anything I've seen, Mira admitted. But I found something interesting in the metadata. Quantum entanglement markers consistent with deep space communication. Alina's heart raced. You're saying these messages originated beyond Earth? Not just beyond Earth, Mira clarified. The entanglement pattern matches debris we recovered from your brother's mining vessel. The implication was clear. Either Thomas was alive and somehow communicating with them, or someone wanted them to think he was. Maya suddenly stiffened in her neural interface chair. Energy spike detected. The harvester is deploying smaller vessels. The holographic display updated, showing a dozen craft separating from the main ship, each approximately the size of a naval destroyer. Deployment pattern suggests standard resource survey protocol. Maya continued, interpreting data through her enhanced perception. They're not heading for population centers. They're targeting our mining operations. Of course, Dr. Kapoor said, the realization dawning. They're not interested in us. They want what we've been extracting. Rare earth elements, helium-3 from lunar operations. We're not the harvest, Alina whispered. We're the competition. This changed everything. Their defensive strategy had assumed direct conflict, not economic displacement. The aliens weren't planning invasion. They were initiating a corporate takeover on a planetary scale. We need to show them we're not easy prey, General Carter stated, joining them on the command deck. Nightshade is still our only advantage. We need to use it. Alina studied the man carefully. After weeks of suspicion, she still couldn't determine if he was the security leak or just another military mind defaulting to aggression. Regardless, in this case, he was right. Maya, plot an intercept course for the nearest survey vessel, Alina ordered. We're going to get a closer look at their technology. As Nightshade silently accelerated toward its target, Maya's unique perception allowed her to navigate through the quantum wake patterns left by alien vessels, invisible ripples in reality that standard sensors couldn't detect. Their stealth technology operates on similar principles to ours, she reported, but more advanced. They're not just bending light, they're phasing partly out of our reality. Can you exploit that? Alina asked. Maya's lips curved into a slight smile. Their technology isn't perfect. There are harmonics, moments when they phase back completely. If we time our approach correctly. 20 hours later, Nightshade positioned itself directly in the path of an alien survey vessel approaching Saturn's rings. To conventional detection, both ships were invisible, but Maya could perceive the alien craft clearly through her quantum-enhanced senses. Initiating quantum synchronization, she announced, her fingers dancing across neural interface controls that responded to thought as much as touch. What followed was less a battle than a dance. Nightshade adjusted its quantum field to match the alien vessel's frequency, essentially becoming visible only to that specific ship while remaining undetectable to others. The alien craft reacted immediately, executing maneuvers that defied conventional physics. Space seemed to fold around it as it attempted to evade this suddenly appearing threat. They're confused, Maya reported, a note of triumph in her voice. Their systems can't categorize us. Let's give them something to analyze, Alina ordered. Nightshade deployed a specialized probe, not a weapon, but a quantum scanner designed to penetrate the alien vessel's stealth field. For 30 crucial seconds, they gathered more data about alien technology than all previous monitoring combined. The alien vessel responded by launching a countermeasure, a sphere of energy that expanded rapidly, disrupting Nightshade's quantum field. Emergency systems engaged automatically, shifting the field harmonics to compensate, but not before a surge of feedback traveled through the neural interface. Maya screamed, her back arching as alien data patterns flooded her enhanced perception. Through her eyes, the entire team suddenly witnessed fragments of alien communication, coordinated resource extraction operations across a dozen star systems, catalogs of processed civilizations, and most shockingly, humans working alongside the alien harvesters. When Maya regained consciousness hours later, she immediately requested a secure channel to Alina. "I saw him," she whispered, her voice hoarse. "Your brother. He's alive." Alina's hands trembled as Maya shared the mental image. Thomas, altered with implanted technology, serving aboard a harvester vessel. Not a prisoner, but not entirely willing either. "There's more," Maya continued. "The security breach. It's not a person. It's a quantum entanglement communication node. They've had a direct link to our systems from the beginning, through technology similar to what they've implanted in human collaborators." Alina's mind raced through implications. "Can we trace it?" "Already did," Maya replied. "It's in General Carter's neural security implant. He has no idea it's there." Armed with this knowledge, Alina implemented a daring plan. Rather than exposing the general, they fed carefully crafted misinformation through his implant, false vulnerabilities in Earth's defenses, exaggerated capabilities of conventional weapons, and most importantly, misleading data about Nightshade's operating principles. Meanwhile, Nightshade positioned itself near the main harvester vessel, using the intelligence gathered from the survey ship encounter to predict the gaps in its detection capabilities. "They still don't know exactly what we are," Maya explained to the command team. "The survey vessel categorized us as an anomalous natural phenomenon, rather than a constructed vessel." "Then let's become the most anomalous phenomenon they've ever encountered," Alina replied. For the next 48 hours, Nightshade executed a series of maneuvers designed to create confusion among the alien fleet, appearing momentarily near different vessels before vanishing, disrupting communication between ships, and leaving quantum distortions that their sensors would interpret as spatial anomalies. The strategy worked. The harvester recalled its survey vessels, consolidating its forces defensively rather than proceeding with resource assessment. Then came the transmission they had been waiting for, a direct communication attempt from the harvester to Earth governments. The message was simple. This system was now under resource management by the consortium. Existing operations could continue under consortium oversight with a 70% resource tithe. The world leader's response, crafted with input from the Raven program, was equally simple. Earth recognized no authority claimed by unilateral declaration and would defend its sovereignty. What followed was not the expected attack, but something more surprising, a request for direct negotiation. The consortium, it seemed, was not accustomed to resistance at this stage of operations. "It's a trap," General Carter insisted during the Emergency Security Council session. "They want to locate our stealth technology." "Of course they do," Alina agreed, "which is why we're going to show it to them, on our terms." The plan was audacious. Nightshade would transport Earth's negotiating team directly to the designated coordinates, dropping its stealth field only at the last moment to demonstrate their technological capability, while a second, still experimental stealth vessel named Phantom would remain cloaked nearby as insurance. As they prepared for departure, Alina received one final anonymous message. "Extraction team en route to coordinates 47.3 and 128.6 W monitoring implants can be neutralized. T." The coordinates pointed to a remote section of the Pacific Ocean. Despite objections, Alina insisted on a detour. "Maya, connected to Nightshade systems, guided them to the precise location just as a small craft emerged from the depths, a human submarine, but modified with alien technology. When the airlock opened, Thomas Reyes stood before them, changed but unmistakably himself. The reunion was brief and tense, overshadowed by the neural implants visible at his temples. "I can't stay long," he explained quickly. "The implants track biometric data. They'll know something's wrong when they can't locate me." He handed Elena a device. "This will temporarily disable any consortium monitoring technology within 50 meters. Use it during negotiations." "How did you escape?" Elena asked, still struggling to believe her brother stood before her. "I didn't," Thomas replied grimly. "I'm their cultural liaison. They think I'm gathering intelligence for them. They don't understand human deception very well. Their species evolved without predators." This final piece of intelligence proved crucial during the negotiations. The consortium representatives, tall gray-skinned beings with disturbingly symmetrical features, were unprepared for humanity's approach to diplomacy. They expected either immediate capitulation or irrational aggression, not calculated cooperation mixed with firm boundaries. When the human delegation activated Thomas's device, temporarily disabling the aliens' monitoring systems, genuine surprise registered on their alien features. For the first time, they faced a primitive species that could counter their technology. The resulting agreement was far from perfect, but it established Earth as a sovereign entity rather than a resource platform. The consortium would limit its operations to the outer solar system, with regulated resource sharing rather than unilateral extraction. As Nightshade returned to Earth, Maya detected additional large vessels arriving at the edge of the solar system. More consortium ships, but also others of different configurations. "We've changed the equation," Dr. Zhang observed, studying the data. "We're no longer simply prey in their economic ecosystem." Elena thought about her brother, returned to his handler with altered memories of his escape attempt, but now a deliberate double agent. She thought about the quantum technology they had developed in months rather than decades, and the 3 additional stealth vessels nearing completion. "This isn't over," she said, watching distant stars on Nightshade's observation deck. "But for the first time since I detected that signal in Chile, I believe we have a fighting chance." Above Earth, invisible to conventional sensors, Nightshade adjusted its quantum field, its metamaterial hull reflecting no light, generating no wake in the fabric of space-time. The first of humanity's stealth fleet, born of desperation and ingenuity, had changed everything, including humanity's place in the cosmos. The Raven program had given Earth its wings in a dangerous universe. Now they would learn to fly.